Good morning. My name is Donna Pereira, and I am the treasurer of this congregation. Welcome to the First Unitarian Universalist Church of San Antonio. I became a UU 20 years ago when I moved from Missouri to Connecticut. When I moved to Texas a few years ago, I was delighted to find such a vibrant, engaged UU congregation. This has become not just my spiritual home, but a valued place of friendship and community. Our weekly worship is where we connect, share information and inspiration. To begin, let's acknowledge the place where we are currently located, the home of and traditional lands of the Tonkawa and Payaya peoples of the Coahuiltecan Band, original and indigenous stewards of this land, on this land that is now called San Antonio, Texas, which is claimed as part of the United States of America. Today's welcoming words are from Marianne Cotter. Welcome to this place of possibility. This is love's hearth, the home of hope, a refuge for minds in search of truth, unfolding, ever beautiful, ever strange. Here, compassion is our shelter, freedom our protection from the storms of bigotry and hate. In this abode may we find comfort in courage. Here may our sight become vision, to see the unseen, to glimpse the good that is yet to be. If you are new to us or visiting for the first time today, we welcome you and ask you to sign in on the chat stream. We'd like to get to know you and to follow up with you. Wherever you are on your life's journey, we hope you will find a place with us.
Good morning. My name is Cheryl Lardy, and I am co-chair of the Green Sanctuary team. I'd like to announce that on Sunday, December 13th, 2020, there will be a congregational meeting immediately following the YouTube service, or at 11:45 a.m., whichever comes first. It will be conducted virtually via Zoom in lieu of our Sunday morning coffee hour. The Zoom link has been provided in the congregational call that was sent out previously, and will also be in the chat stream toward the end of the service on December 13th. The congregational meeting is being called for three purposes: voting to approve that our congregation will endorse the Energy Innovation Carbon Dividend Act, EICDA. Voting will be via MailChimp ballot following the meeting. A copy of the resolution has been provided to all members, along with several forms of additional information, which I hope you will read or watch before the meeting. As a member of the Green Sanctuary team and as its co-chair, I am really excited that our congregation will consider support for this particularly important legislation. We believe it has a really good chance of succeeding due to its bipartisan support. Adoption of the act will make our communities and world a much cleaner place. Please review the materials provided. The board will also provide a state of the church presentation, updating everyone on key functions still going on, despite our not being on campus or holding live church in our sanctuary. Finally, the minister and the Committee on Ministry will be providing an update on ministerial goals and future efforts to develop a congregational covenant. Please join me and your fellow church members for the congregational meeting on December 13th following the service. See you there.
In the bleak winter, frosty wind made home. I stood high by Zion,
1,
2, 3. We're the Kujawskis family.
I'm Mary Ellen.
I'm Carolyn.
I'm Andrzej.
I'm Ryan.
We joined the church in April of 2020. We love karaoke and hiking. In keeping with the story wisdom that Reverend Mark and Carolyn will share with us today, we light our chalice as the first candle of our December holiday season. Today's candle symbolizes the first of the 4 elements: earth, water, fire, and air. Earth symbolizes a solid. It is our home, our ground, a circle of life on which we are all held and all have a place. We are grateful for our earth and our spiritual home. Let there be light.
Push. Ryan, come help it go.
Woo! Now you can blow it.
You did it. That was great. Good job.
Yay, family.
We are called as Unitarian Universalists to build the beloved community where all are welcome as blessings, and the human family lives in forgiveness and grace, whole and reconciled.
We know that this aim takes work, and so we're committed to live and behave as a community with covenantal agreements.
Let's recite our covenant that articulates our guidelines and binds us together in community.
The words can be found on your screen.
Love is the doctrine of this church.
The quest of truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, to serve humanity in fellowship, to the end that all souls shall grow in harmony with the divine. Thus do we covenant with each other.
On this first Sunday of December, we light a candle in our virtual Advent wreath. Today's candle celebrates the element of earth. Earth is a solid. In solids, the atoms appear to be packed closely together in an ordered pattern, giving a solid a definite volume and shape. Examples of solids include rocks, wood, metal, and ice. As the Kujawskis have shared in our chalice lighting, Carolyn and Reverend Mark will have more to tell of the season of Advent during today's story wisdom. But for now, let us enter further into our Sunday service with the understanding that Sun-Day is a day of the sun, a weekly occasion to celebrate the light. As we all know, December is a month of many holidays and holy days, one of which is the winter solstice, to be celebrated on December 20th, after which we will see the time of light lengthening. Until then, may we each prepare ourselves like the earth is doing, by going into a period of rest, by quieting, gathering, and integrating ourselves personally and as families during this season, a special time of the year.
As a way for us to connect as a community, you are invited to share a joyful event, a sorrow, or a concern by entering it on the chat stream. Please let us know what is in your life and in your heart. For ours is a welcoming community where we find connection, a spiritual community where we come fully alive. Ours is a sharing community where our joys are amplified, a caring community where our sorrows are heard and held in compassion. At this time of uncertainty, may we listen more deeply and grow more involved with and connected to each other. Let's join in silent meditation as we write our joys and sorrows on the chat screen while Jaime plays our meditation music. Take a deep cleansing breath and exhale. For all our joys, sorrows, and concerns, may we feel empathy and compassion. For all that is unspoken, may the caring of our community offer a space of deep kindness, loving, and just action. I'd like to share a prayer for a new beginning by the late John O'Donohue. In out-of-the-way places of the heart, where your thoughts never think to wander, this beginning has been quietly forming, waiting until you were ready to emerge. It watched you play with the seduction of safety and the gray promises that sameness whispered, heard the waves of turmoil rise and relent, wondered, would you always live like this? Then, the delight, when your courage kindled. Amen. Today's story wisdom is about the Advent season.
The period of Advent, which means to come, is a time of anticipation, of looking forward, of waiting, a time of preparation and hope, a season full of rich tradition. A common tradition is lighting an Advent wreath, a reminder of the coming light. Each week that the candles are lit, we are reminded that the solstice is approaching, the shortest day and longest night of the calendar year. For a few days, the sun appears to stand still, and then in our northern latitudes begins its further northward journey again, bringing more light unto the earth with each passing day. We can trace the origins of the Advent wreath back to pre-Christian pagan traditions. Pre-Christian Germanic people lit candles and placed them in wreaths during the darkest days of winter as a sign of hope for the light that would come with springtime. Throughout history, the use of the wreath was adopted by Christians during the Middle Ages as a way to prepare for the light of the birth of Jesus at Christmas.
Although I and many of you likely remember Advent from your Catholic or mainline church childhoods, it was a minor celebration, easily overshadowed by all the emphasis on Christmas with its decorations, presents, marketing, and more. But I've been a fan of celebrating Advent in a broader context ever since I learned from Helen Farias, whose book Advent of the Sun gleans from the Advent tradition of the churches, who have borrowed so many pagan traditions over the years. She outlines a weekly ceremony to be performed on each of the 4 sun days before solstice, in which you light one candle on the Advent wreath, read a story, spend a few moments enjoying the candlelight, then indulge in seasonal food and drink. This is a lovely tradition to share with family or friends.
You can make your own Advent wreath from evergreens collected in your neighborhood. It can become a part of living seasonally and knowing what is available at this time of year. You might consider taking a walk in early Advent, November's end or December's beginning, to gather the greens, returning yearly to the same trees and bushes. In your neighborhood, you might find cedar, cypress, holly, pine, fir, or even spruce.
After Thanksgiving, as the natural world goes into a fallow time, so can we humans withdraw more into silence and contemplation. Yet at the same time, we long to gather with friends and family to reaffirm our bonds and create our own kind of warmth. And the grand theme is Lux in Tenebris, Latin for light in darkness. Light is born at the darkest point of the year. These are universal themes, no matter what your religion or spiritual path, even if you're a dedicated non-theist. Mother Gaia's lessons are here for all.
Let our intention be that we will shine with the light of understanding and truth. Let our light awaken what is best in our human family and help us to restore wisdom, honor, balance, beauty, and goodwill among all beings.
Let the light guide our hearts and hands to act for the healing of one another and for our Mother Earth. It is now time for the offertory. The offering is a sacrament of the Free Church. It is supported by the voluntary generosity of all who join us. The offering will now be given and received in grateful appreciation of our shared hopes and values. You may make an offering on the online giving portal through the link on the screen while we enjoy this music. May we be reminded that there is no church without its people. We are this church. We stand for inclusion and diversity and a wholeness that is comprised of many parts, all of them important, all different, all needed. May we become more as one, especially in our service to each other and to our wider community of humanity and to non-humans too, all of which is made possible by our offering today.
Today's reading is from chapter 76 of the Tao Te Ching by Lao Tzu, translated by John H. MacDonald. The living are soft and yielding, the dead are rigid and stiff. Living plants are flexible and tender, the dead are brittle and dry. Those who are stiff and rigid are the disciples of death. Those who are soft and yielding are the disciples of life. The rigid and stiff will be broken, the soft and yielding will overcome.
Today's message is entitled, On Being Resilient. When I think about becoming more resilient, I think about having the ability to move with life's changes. I think about that well-known saying about trees bending with the wind, a familiar proverb from the Mandarin Chinese. It teaches that the tree that does not bend with the wind will be broken by the wind. Now, I have a yoga practice, so I can bend with life rather than be shattered by it. What do you have or do to soften you into a more resilient person? In looking at resiliency, our beliefs matter. One belief that bolsters resiliency is that the world is meaningful. This includes being committed to finding a meaningful purpose. Believing that life is meaningful and purposeful does not require or reject belief in God or a power greater than an individual. This fits well with our diverse Unitarian Universalist theological framework. For humanists, this meaning-making may be understood to be completely in the hands of humans. This kind of responsibility is custom-made for many UUs, who extol the values of self-reliance and self-determination. For theists, the sense of meaning and purpose may be understood to derive from God, who they believe instills the universe with meaning and from whom people receive their call to purpose. This might include the understanding that God created the world and cares about what happens to us. Many individuals on our planet find great comfort and support in this image. When we're capable of finding meaning and purpose in life, we're less likely to feel distress about disturbing events. We're more likely to be optimistic and confident. Belief in a meaningful existence is expressed in the UU principle that calls us to the free and responsible search for truth and meaning. It's also expressed in our encouragement of others to spiritual growth. And spiritual, as I defined it last week, has to do with a purposeful intention that transcends oneself for a larger purpose. Another focus of resilient individuals is on the purpose of making the world a better place. There's that word purpose again. Those who have successfully weathered changes and have received help from others recognize how essential our relationships and communities are to our own ability to survive. Unitarian Universalism holds a strong ethic of justice making and of service for building a better world. Our principles express this commitment in our affirmation of the worth and dignity of every person and our call for justice, equity, and compassion in human relationships. We're called to respect each person's human rights and to work to protect those rights. Serving others is good for the world, and it also improves our own well-being. So those who want to improve their ability to bounce back might do well to lend a helping hand, to support your family, to serve on a church committee or our board, to volunteer for community or school organizations. This includes making financial and in-kind contributions as well. It probably won't surprise many of you to learn that believing we can influence our surroundings and outcomes is another key to human resiliency. This is a belief in human agency, that we have some control over our own choices and outcomes. In other words, we are participants in life, not pawns. We don't have control over everything, but we do have a voice and a hand in creating the world we want for ourselves and for others. This is a pretty fiercely held value among Unitarian Universalists. When asked to identify themselves along a continuum from freedom to determinism, and I've done this exercise with a few different groups over the years, many UUs will be found tightly huddled at the freedom end, maybe even competing to be at the most extreme end of it. Now, this doesn't necessarily exclude the participation of the God of one's understanding from the picture, but it does suggest that humans are, at the very least, co-creators in the events of life. Related to this is the belief that we learn and grow from both positive and negative experiences. Albert Einstein said it this way: "In the middle of difficulty lies opportunity." Those who are resilient find the opportunities. Because none of our lives are entirely without pain or stress, our success and happiness depends not on avoiding problems so much as learning to move with them. Personal experience is one of the primary sources of our UU faith. We use our own stories of success and failure to help us better understand ourselves and our world. It is through our personal experiences that we are opened to the source of life. Our painful experiences, as well as our joyful ones, hold the potential to open us to life. Taoism teaches that change is the essence of life, and going with the flow is the best way to manage things. In the words of Lao Tzu, from the reading of Donna, the rigid and inflexible will surely fail, while the soft and flowing will prevail. We have religion when we have an abiding gratitude for all that we have received. Not just for the things we like, or the beneficial gifts of family, friends, and life itself. No, for all that we have received. And all means all. Notice how we resist and get tense when we think of challenges we've had, losses, illnesses, disappointments, even death. Might we slowly understand, especially after these unbidden and unwelcome events have passed, and remember the blessings that came from them and the lessons that we learned? With many of these, did we give way, let go, soften our hard places, rather than remain rigid and tense? That hardness, like armor, just increases one's suffering. Imagine being more flexible, more like water, less like ice. As we learn to relax into the sadness, the pain, the aggravation of not getting what we want, we find we are able to lessen the sadness, the pain, the aggravation. We open to the experience. It is our experience, and it's there to be received. Could we believe that by opening fully to our own experience, we can feel and see the resilience of life around us? The Cure is a poem by Austin poet Albert Hufstekler. I wonder how it speaks to you about resiliency. It goes like this. We think we get over things. We don't get over things. Or say we get over the measles, but not a broken heart. We need to make that distinction. The things that become part of our experience never become less a part of our experience. How can I say it? The way to get over a life is to die. Short of that, you move with it. Let the pain be pain, not in the hope that it will vanish, but in the faith that it will fit in, find its place in the shape of things, and be not any less pain, but true to form. Because anything natural has an inherent shape and will flow towards it, and a life is as natural as a leaf. That's what we're looking for. Not the end of a thing, but the shape of it. Wisdom is seeing the shape of your life without getting over a single instant of it. Our UU religion offers us resources and tools that can bolster our acceptance, our resilience, the kind of faith that can make life's challenges fit in. And this includes our 7 principles and 6 sources of faith, as well as our embrace of spiritual and physical practices of prayer and meditation, working or walking in nature, making art and music, working for justice. These practices foster mindfulness. Embracing and cultivating our values and habits of mind can help us become more flexible and appreciative. We are all going to struggle from time to time, even experience deep pain. Like the Dalai Lama says, pain is inevitable. Suffering is optional. We can learn how to fall and to get back up, how to be more open to life, to be more resilient, more like water, and less like ice. Be ours a religion which, like sunshine, goes everywhere. Its temple, all space. Its shrine, the good heart. Its ritual, words of love. Its profession of faith, divine living. After our postlude by Jaime, we invite you to join in conversation during our coffee hour at the link shown on the screen. Please join with us. If you're not available or interested in coffee hour, we thank you for being with us today and trust you will take good care of yourself and that you will witness or make something special happen today. And that we will see you again soon.